Hey everybody, welcome to Game Time. It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's Friday Freestyle. Make sure you give us all your questions, whether it's trades, whether it's start sits, whether it's dynasty, whether it's keepers, whether it's redraft. It doesn't matter. This show is for you. We are here to answer your questions. I have my special guest with me, Mr. Jeff Haseley of the world famous Football Guys. We are ready for you. It's Freestyle Friday. It's game time.
It's about to go down in a minute. Let me touch down. I'ma get it. Cause I been waiting all night. It's game time.
Yes, folks, once again, I'm the Fantasy Typhoon, a.k.a. The Mentalist, a.k.a. your favorite analyst. And this is a weekly show called Game Time. I know it's new to you. I know you're not familiar with old Typhoon yet, but as you come in, as you get your questions answered, as we help you dominate your league, as we help you walk around the office strutting, hey, I got the trophy. I got the trophy. As we help you conquer your league mates and just step on them and go to victory, you'll come a friend of the Fantasy Typhoons, and you will be a welcome guest. Once again, it's Freestyle Friday. Anything goes. This show is for you. Basically, this show is here to answer all your start sit questions. So whether you're watching on Periscope, make sure you subscribe. Whether you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you get that invaluable notification that when the show is live, so you can come in and get your questions answered. This show, we're just going to go over some running back rankings, some guys who are in for a big week. We're also going to go over some DFS with Jeff Haseley. We're just going to, kind of touch on that. But when your comments come in, your comment takes precedence. Your comments are important. We want to help you win your league once again. And without further ado, I bring on my humble host, Mr. Jeff Haseley of Football Guys. Jeff, thank you, man. What's going on?
Typhoon, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Thankful to be on Game Time with you, sharing some fantasy information, tidbits, knowledge, and opinions. So let's do it.
Look, I got one for you right quick. Luke, what is his name? Jake Luton?
Jake Luton.
Whatever he is. Yeah. Luton on the futon or Luton with the glutton. I need to start him or Nick Foles, man. Which one should I rock and roll? This is a two-way street, so we're going to hit each other with questions, folks.
Oh, yeah. No, you know what? I would kind of lean – I would lean Nick Foles here against the Vikings. I think that first of all, as far as Luton is concerned, he had that gorgeous pass to DJ Shark, and his first completion of the game was a touchdown, 73 yards. But then
he looked good too.
He looked really good, but then he wasn't really able to accomplish much after that. As far as Nick Foles is concerned against the Vikings, it's a home game, whereas Luton's going to have to go into Green Bay and play. That's a feather in the cap of Foles here. Looking at the Vikings have given up, the last week against Detroit, they allowed 2 touchdown passes. But prior to that, they allowed 3 touchdown passes from Aaron Rodgers, 4 from Matt Ryan, 3 from Russell Wilson, 2 from Deshaun Watson. You sensing a theme here? At least 2 touchdowns in each of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. And in many cases, it's more than that. So I think Foles has a chance to get a first half touchdown, and then a second half touchdown. And if the Vikings take the lead, like I think they will, and run Dalvin Cook strong, they're going to be ahead in this game, and that favors Foles. And I like Foles in the second half to perhaps get a second or third touchdown. So, in that sense, I would pick Foles over Lutton, especially with the home game.
Foles over Lutton Glutton or Luton Futon.
Yeah.
Lutton Glutton, Luton Futon. All right, folks, we got questions coming in. Like I said, look, when your questions come in, we'll stop the show and cater to you guys. We got one coming in from Josh Voglers. Hopefully I said your name right. Edmonds or Duke Johnson for flex standard league. Drake is a game time decision. Chase Edmonds or Duke Johnson.
You got Edmonds versus Buffalo, or you have Duke Johnson versus let's see, who does Houston play again? They play Cleveland. I'm a little bit concerned about Duke Johnson getting, a lot of carries here. I'm thinking maybe 10, 12 carries. He's going to be more, I think, used in the passing game. So therefore, I think I would lean Chase Edmonds here against Buffalo. Just taking a look at what Buffalo has done against running backs here lately. Let's take a quick peek as I am opening this up here for you. Let's see. Not much to Seattle last week. Damian Harris had 100 yards and a touchdown. DJ Dallas did score last week, though, and they've allowed at least one rushing touchdown to a running back in each of the last 5 games. So that's sort of good news for Chase Edmonds. There is some concern that Kenyon Drake might be available, might be active. Then there's a question of, well, how much is he going to play? Hopefully we know that information on Sunday, and we can make a more of a better choice. But right now I'm leaning Edmonds as opposed to Duke Johnson. I just don't see really Duke as a guy that Houston is going to lean on heavily as a rusher. I just don't quite see that. Now that may depend on who you ask, but that's just my opinion.
Now this is standard. So he's pretty much the touchdown is going to be pretty much the decider of this, who wins or loses this. Chase Edmonds and Duke Johnson both have, from my algorithm, both have a -3 in that matchup, which is not favorable. It's in the red zone. Is what I'm saying. It's in the red shade. And if Kenyon Drake plays, then you go Duke Johnson. You just have to. You got to run him out against Cleveland. But if Kenyon Drake does not play against that Buffalo defense, successful against the run, sometimes you just don't know. Just don't know. But I would have to lean towards Edmonds. If Drake does not play, fire up Edmonds in your flex. If Drake plays, Duke Johnson is your man. Josh Vogels. Hopefully I said your name right. I apologize. Let's move on to the next one. Alpha Male JMJ. Jim Hasty outlook rest of the season. It all depends on most. Jermichael Hasty. It all depends on most. I just had the doc on last night. Dr. Jeffrey Morris came on last night and said most should return after the bye. Their bye is next week. So that's what week 11, week 12, I believe he should return. So
that's right.
He goes into a pumpkin once Mostert comes back. So that's my opinion. What's your thoughts on that one, Jeff?
I totally agree with you. Once Mostert comes back, and it's not going to be this week, and it won't be next week because they're on a bye, so they're coming back week 12. Once that happens, it's going to be Mostert's show. So I don't think that Jermichael Hasty is really someone that you may want to keep him rostered, in a season-long league. But if you had to, you could move on from him, I think, after this week, because they got a bye after that, and you don't want to keep a guy who's on bye on your roster who's not really going to amount to much after the Mostert return. So I would say it's very low, his rest of season outlook, unless something happens to Mostert, and you can't really predict injury.
Yeah, can't predict injury. So that's a good synopsis of that, Jeff. So if you have to have him, if you feel a need, if that's one of your players that you love, go ahead and hold on to him. If you have some kind of personal, your San Francisco 49er fan, then hey, you have to do what you have to do there. But this is all about fun. Your fantasy football is, really isn't real. But I'm not rostering Hasty after once he hits by, he's gone for me. Let's see. All right, Jeff, I'll let you take this one first. We'll go back and forth. Miles, James Robinson starting in his flex right now, but he also has Antonio Gibson on the bench. Which one does he start?
Yeah, I like James Robinson here against Green Bay. Over the last 3 weeks, Green Bay has given up the second most fantasy points to running backs. And, a lot of that has come from Dalvin Cook's 160-yard, 4 touchdowns, excuse me. So a lot of that comes from there. But, Robinson's played well. And Green Bay is, if they're going to be vulnerable, it's against the run. So I kind of lean Robinson here, although I do like the matchup, though, for Antonio Gibson. It's Detroit. Looking at Detroit, they are the number 1 team in terms of running back fantasy points allowed over the last 3 weeks. And again, another reason is because they played Dalvin Cook. Shoot, I think I would go. I would go with James Robinson there. He's already been a really big surprise with a top 5 finish so far as fantasy ranking. Jacksonville is going to lean on him as a rusher, as a receiver. I think he probably gets 4, maybe 5 or more catches in this game, especially against Green Bay, where they're most likely going to be ahead. But we've seen Robinson before have great games, even when Jacksonville does not. So I would lean Robinson there. I think he has a little bit more of a I don't know what's the word, maybe pedigree. That's not really the word, but his experience has shown more than what Antonio Gibson has done. Yes, Detroit has given up a lot of yards, but like I said, a lot of that's due to Dalvin Cook. Whoever plays Dalvin Cook is going to give up a lot of yards, but I kind of lean Robinson here as the favorite.
All right, just for context here, let me follow up with Jeff. My top 5 this week, running back ranking. The Browns has the best matchup against the Texans this week as far as running backs are concerned. So if you have Hunt, fire him up. Now, guess who's second? The Jags have the second best matchup this week, according to my algorithm here, which means fire up James Robinson with confidence. Another thing that Jeff said, I'll piggyback on that. Green Bay is porous against the run. So, look, now I know game script might come in here into effect a little bit if Green Bay gets out to a surmountable lead, but James Robinson can still catch out of the backfield, so game script really doesn't nullify his work. So, Miles, if I were you, I would go ahead and keep James Robinson in that flex for right now and start him with confidence. Let's see, what else we got here?
If you're looking for a stat against Green Bay, looking at just what they've given up to running backs, they've allowed running backs to score 2 touchdowns in a game 4 times this year. So there's that.
Yeah, that's my number 2. Jaguars is my number 2 this week. So they got a huge green light. So yes, James Robinson, rock and roll. Let's
make
see.
that 5 games, because now I just see Alvin Kamara had 2 receiving touchdowns against him. So 5 times running backs have scored more than 1 touchdown against Green Bay this year. Wow.
Absolutely. Fire them up. Let's see. Alpha male JMJ. Kalen Ballard, rest of the season. To be honest with you, I think he's back on the practice squad. But I think they're going to activate him before Sunday, probably sometime Saturday. So that should not be a problem. So he should get back to the active roster. Now, speaking with Doc last night, he said, gosh, what is it? Help me out, Jeff. Eckler, yes. Eckler should be on his way to return. So once Eckler gets back, they're going to probably ease him in softly. But Kalen Ballard shouldn't be an asset as far as your fantasy playoffs. Eckler should be back before your fantasy playoffs. Uh, I would hold Balaj this week. I think Tremaine Pope comes back this week, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was
Yeah.
out for a concussion, and
Right.
I think that's why. I think that gave way to Kalen Balaj getting the green light. So I would hold him one more week, and then I would kind of cut ties with him. What you say, Jeff?
I was just gonna say Kalen Balaj is most likely gonna play this week, but so is Josh Kelly and so is Tremaine Pope. And I mean, we're gonna have a split, not even split, three-way tie between running carries. It's pretty much the healthy hand wins, and of course the better runner is going to get a little bit more touches. But we're going to see a split here between Kelly, Pope, and Ballage. So, and once Eckler comes back, yeah, it's not something that I really like in terms of Kalen Ballage for the rest of the year.
Yeah. I think I second that. Look, folks, remember this show is for you. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notifications button so you know when game time is live. Try to do a show every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and of course, Freestyle Fridays. Trying to cater to you guys. The reason why I brought this show into the forefront is for the simple fact. Look, Jeff, I was on social media on Twitter one day, man. I saw a person asking a question. He asked this question at the top, right? Mm-hmm. And then he had at this expert, and then at this expert, expert, at this expert for one question, and nobody answered this question. So I said, okay, now that I'm on furlough, let me open up a platform to cater to you folks, to you guys out there, taking your questions. And Freestyle Fridays is a perfect place to get your questions answered because now we know practice reports. We know Miles Sanders, full. Austin Hooper, full. Tyler Eifert, put in a full. John Brown, full. Eric Ebron, Juju, Alshon Jeffrey, and Antonio Gibson all put in full practices. So we know these guys. Oh, Noah Fant, full. So now we know these guys are playing. So now we have the information needed, to give out those good start sit recommendations for you guys, because now those blanks have been, kind of filled in. But before I get to the running backs, Jeff, if you could, what you got for us on some of these folks out here playing DFS? You got any special thoughts?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess we can look at quarterbacks first, right? If you want to. A lot of people are really big on Kyler Murray. He's the top quarterback, of course, every week it seems. I mean, it just depends. I mean, there's some plays that I like. Just looking at FanDuel's numbers here. One of the guys that I like, let me go back to it here for quarterbacks. Let's see. One of the guys I like here is Jared Goff at 7,400 FanDuel against Seattle. And Seattle is, if I can go back to show you here what Seattle is allowing, they've allowed the most quarterback points over the last 3 weeks, averaging 366 yards against. And we already know that they give up a lot of pass attempts. 366 yards per game for their opposing quarterbacks is a lot. 2.7 passing touchdowns. And this week, Jared Goff plays them. So, Goff isn't necessarily someone that we are usually targeting on a weekly basis for DFS. But this week, it might not be a bad option, especially at 7,400. I like Goff. You could say the same for Mike Davis, too, as far as a running back is concerned. When McCaffrey came back, McCaffrey's salary, of course, is high, and Mike Davis went way down. And so I like him as well. Those are just two guys that I think are and you can throw Duke Johnson into that mix as well. I mean, we talked about Duke Johnson earlier. I mean, I think he could have a decent game as a receiver, catching 3 catches or more, as well as a rusher. I don't think he's going to really exceed 13, 15 carries, but I mean, he could still get the job done and perhaps get a touchdown to kind of give us a little bit of a boost. Miles Sanders coming back is a nice thing. Chase Edmonds, who has we talked about already as well, is a decent value at Edmonds on FanDuel, 7,100. I'll give you some more additional prices. Antonio Gibson, 6,100. We already talked about him with his good matchup against Detroit. I like that. James Conner against the Bengals, 7,500. Of course, I mean, we're talking about 9,700 for or 9,500, excuse me, for Dalvin Cook. So getting someone at 7,700 like Sanders or 7,300 like James Robinson is a nice boost for you. You don't have to spend all that money. You can use it elsewhere. So you always want to find value in DFS, and those are some value plays that I've noticed. And I'll be working on my DFS rankings here later tonight to get those posted over at Football Guys.
Yeah, you always want to dig under those rocks and kind of see what you got going on as far as the DFS. You never know what you might stumble upon. But folks, let me just give you my top 7 running backs for the week. Browns, number 1. That Browns matchup is number 1. That's your Kareem Hunt. Nick Chubb could be returning this week to get a piece of this party, this Texans party. But that remains to be seen. So either Chubb or Hunt, fire those guys up. We already talked about my number 2. We already talked about James Robinson and his juicy matchup against James Robinson, his juicy matchup against Green Bay's run defense. Number 3 is the Seahawks. Now I know Chris Carson isn't playing. Chris Carson's out, and Carlos Hyde is out. Doc also told us last night that he does not expect Rashad Penny to return this year. So he doesn't expect to even see him this year. So that's what a Travis Homer, fire him up. DJ Dallas, fire him up. Redskins has the 4th best matchup. So that's your Antonio Gibson. Fire him up. Ravens has the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ravens coming in at number 5. That's your J.K. Dobbins. That's your Gus Edwards. Due to the fact that Mark Ingram, he got on a limited practice today. Doesn't look good as far as him suiting up. He has a high ankle sprain. Doc says he should give it a go next week, but he doesn't expect him to play until the week after that. So we might get one more week of Dobbins. Rams, Darrell Henderson, fire him up. He has a +7 matchup. Also, the Chargers, your Kalen Ballage, as we talked about earlier, Tremaine Pope, and those guys, fire those guys up. Those are my can't miss guys for matchup running back wise this week. What's your thoughts on those, Jeff? You kind of like those, or some you disagree with? It's okay. It's okay to disagree with me.
There is one that I disagree with, and that's Seattle. I don't necessarily like the matchup against the Rams. I'm just looking at the Rams and what they've done for against running backs this year. I mean, they've only allowed 1 rushing touchdown to a running back since week 2. And the most rushing yards by running back since week 2 is 71 by Devin Singletary. I mean, they've been stout against running backs. So I'm a little bit concerned there about Seattle. Now, if you have some additional information, perhaps, that suggests otherwise, that's great. But just looking at the stats, I don't like Seattle's chances against the run against the Rams.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Jeff disagrees, folks. So hey, it happens. I love it when disagreement comes on. We're grown men. It's fine. We don't have to agree on everything. You know what I mean? That's better for you. That's better for you guys out there. When everything is, oh yeah, I agree. No, you can't agree on everything. The world is it's diversity out here. Everybody has different points of view. That's fine. I have no problem with it. Let's see. You got any wide receivers for us? Because I haven't worked on my wide receivers yet.
For this week?
Yeah, for this week.
I mean, you got to put Devontae Adams pretty high up there against Jacksonville at home. I like him. I think that one of Metcalf or Tyler Lockett is going to have a decent game. I mean, which ones is Jalen Ramsey going to cover? Is that going to be Metcalf or is it going to be Lockett? Whoever that's going to be, might have some struggles, but the other one is wide open. I like Terry McLaurin versus Detroit. I like Keenan Allen against Miami. Throw Stephon Diggs in there too. I thought that AJ Brown was going to have a decent game against the Colts, but that didn't necessarily happen. Some lesser known guys. Jacoby Myers has played really well, even though New England can't throw the ball in the end zone. Jacoby Myers has done well. This could be another Chase Claypool type of game against the Bengals. What else? Will Fuller has been strong lately, so he could have a decent game against Cleveland.
Yeah.
Travis Fulgham is someone that we tend to forget about, but he's done so much and so little against the Giants. But he might draw coverage against James Bradbury, so that's a little bit of a concern.
Is Fulgham here to stay?
Yes, I think he is. I think Travis Fulgham is here to stay. What he's doing with his opportunities is just impressive. And even though they have Jalen Reagor, I still think Fulgham is someone who can. The guy's 6'2", 215, and he knows how to make catches, contested catches. He's a decent route runner, although that could stand to improve in certain areas. But he's working well. And he's with Carson Wentz, so as far as his longevity is concerned, I think he's someone that. He kind of reminds me of not the player itself, but the situation when Adam Thielen came into the league. Remember, he was someone who was kind of along those same lines of, I don't want to say a late bloomer, but he wasn't automatic from the start. And when we're kind of seeing that from Travis Fulgham, I can just kind of see him kind of come in and be a prominent player. I like Fulgham. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's playing the Alshon Jeffrey role, even though Alshon Jeffrey will return. But they'll ease him back in. But they've been trying their best to shove Alshon Jeffrey out the door. But, they've been trying to trade him. It's an all-out cut. They probably do it, but it's going to be a huge cap hit if they do that. Plus, we all know next year the cap is going down. So make sure you get Dallas Goedert. Because Ertz should not be on the team next year. All right, folks, let me go with my orange running backs. The running backs who have a okay matchup, but not super fantasy rich. Could come away helping you a lot, but I don't know. There's a lot of red flags here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I give you my top 6 middling guys. Bucks coming in at a +7 against Carolina. That's your Ronald Jones, your Leonard Fournette. LaShawn McCoy is a healthy scratch now. Keyshawn Vaughn doesn't see the field, so it's pretty much between Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. Bears, David Montgomery still in concussion protocol. He has an excellent matchup, but we'll see what happens here. Steelers, James Conner, fire him up. New England, J.J. Taylor's return. Damian Harris, limited. It's just so much there. Packers, Aaron Jones has a decent matchup. Raiders, Josh Jacobs has a decent matchup. Saints, Alvin Kamara, really. When does he ever have a bad matchup? So he has a middling matchup this week. So, of course, you're firing him up anyway. You don't need me to tell you that one. You're firing him up as your RB1, even if it was a red matchup. Anyone you would take out of that one, Jeff?
No, you mentioned some good ones. Of course, Cleveland against Houston. Like I said before, Houston is a team that we want to exploit. You want to play your starters against Houston, whether they're receivers, quarterbacks, running backs, whatever. So Cleveland is definitely in that mix there. I like Baltimore against New England this week. New England's been pretty poor as far as allowing running backs to really rack up the yards. What do we see? 1, 2, 200-yard games allowed over the last 4 games. It's it's something I think that Baltimore is going to exploit, especially with Lamar Jackson. I like Pittsburgh, as you said, versus Cincinnati. Washington against Detroit. Again, Detroit being that really favorable matchup for Antonio Gibson. What else? Green Bay against Jacksonville, and we sort of mentioned that too. But yeah, those are some good rushing matchups that I would want to exploit. Oh, I think you're on mute. Hey, Typhoon, I can't hear you. Mic check. Still there? I see you. I just can't hear you. Nothing? There we go.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
All right. Let me go over these guys with rough matchups, and then we'll go ahead and call it a day, and we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Not getting too many questions. So we're here for you. We're here for questions. However long the questions come in, we'll stay. So you guys will learn that as we go on. Guys having a rough matchup according to the Fantasy Typhoons algorithm. Texans, Duke Johnson, Cardinals, Broncos, Eagles. Mr. Miles Sanders has a tough matchup. I know it looks like a cakewalk against New York Giants, but they've been stout against the run. Dolphins, Bills, Singletary, Moss, Panthers, no Christian McCaffrey. Lions, that would be Swift, AP, maybe Carrion. 49ers, Hasty. Giants, Wayne Gallman and the crew. And Bengals, that would be Gio Bernard, since Mixon is not ready to turn. Those are the guys that have tough matchup. Might want to try something else with those guys in play. Jeff, what's your thoughts on those? And then we'll go home.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a couple already. Did you say Carolina? I'm not sure if you did. I know you said Cincinnati.
Yeah, I put Carolina in there.
Yeah, I would agree with Carolina, Cincinnati. I would throw the Rams in there as well against Seattle. Seattle actually has been fairly decent, which is surprising. I kind of like, as far as other ones to stay away from, San Francisco, the Saints have been strong, and they're allowing only 80 yards rushing per game this season, which is excellent. And, of course, San Francisco has all these questions on their running back situation. Mostert's not coming back yet. Tevin Coleman's hurt again. Jermichael Hasty, of course, we have him, and we've got Jerick McKinnon. But, the Saints have been good against the run lately, as well as this season. So, yeah, I would throw those in there as well. Cincinnati's a tough one, too, against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's, 3.7 yards per rush, I think, is what they average against Pittsburgh. So, those are matchups that I would tend to stay away from as far as running backs. Now, I do like Mike Davis this week, though, only because I think he could have 6 catches or more in this game as the Christian McCaffrey replacement against Tampa. He may not have a lot of rushing yards, but he could still total 80 yards and a touchdown against the Buccaneers with 6 catches.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you guys showed up, because we were just about to shut the show down. Also, only, yes, we are still taking questions. This show is for you. This basically is Freestyle Fridays. This show is basically for questions. We just sitting here talking, rambling. If questions don't show up, we go. So we were about to shut it down. Got a question. Duke Johnson or Fournette, from my man Zen22. What's up, Zen? Once again, thank you for your support, Zen. I appreciate it. Duke Johnson or Fournette?
That's a good one. That's tough.
It really is.
PPR? Are we talking PPR really here?
Zen22, we talking PPR.
I would say I would lean Duke Johnson, and the reason why is just because Carolina has improved their run defense lately. I mean, they only allowed 30 yards rushing last week to the Chiefs, and a lot of that could be said because they're targeting the Panthers secondary. A lot of teams are doing this. We're seeing them pass on them, real short 6, 8, 7 yard gains, right? And that's
you said it's PPR, Jeff.
PPR. All right. So I would kind of lean Duke Johnson. I'm a little bit concerned about Fournette. Of course, they have Ronald Jones in the picture too. I mean, the Panthers have allowed 1 rushing touchdown to running back since week 5, which is not that bad. They have allowed 1 200-yard rushing games this season. Yeah, I mean, I would take. I don't really like either of them too much, but I think I kind of lean Duke Johnson with an opportunity to really kind of stake his claim as a pass catching back as well. So once you set PPR, I like Duke Johnson to get at least three catches or more, and I think he's got a good chance to get 10 PPR points with the possibility of a higher ceiling than that.
Man, we got a lot of Duke Johnson questions, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where people are. People have questions about their flex, and he's a perfect flex option, right? So,
I know, right? You've been sitting there holding him all year, so you better fire him up. This is your opportunity, whether it's a good matchup or not. All right, ISO only. What's up, man? He's one of my strong supporters in the community. Got to take care of him. All right, Jeff, what we got? Kenyon Drake going to be similar to Zeke rest of the season?
No. I think that Zeke is still going to be the superior running back to Drake. I mean, we don't even know how healthy Drake is, and even if he does return to form, are we going to see him with the carry share that he had earlier in the year, or did Chase Edmonds kind of catch up to him, if not pass him? We'll see what Chase Edmonds does this week against Buffalo. If he has a good game, I mean, Drake's outlook then drops. So I mean, it's kind of hard to discount Zeke Elliott, especially with Garrett Gilbert kind of playing well. I mean, he's moving the ball. He's a good leader. Elliott's still their guy, and I think they're going to lean through him. He also catches a lot of balls too. So I like Zeke over Kenyon Drake going forward this year.
Absolutely. Yes, Zeke over Kenyon Drake by a mile, in my opinion, for the rest of the season. Even though Zeke still isn't returning that 1.2, that 1.3, that 1.4, that top 5 selection that we selected him with. But yes, I still take him over Kenyon Drake going forward. We got one here, Jeff, Packers 6'11". Should I drop Cole Beasley?
Beasley's that guy who's right on the edge. John Brown's back. They've got Beasley. They've got Stephon Diggs. They've got Gabriel Davis. They've got 4 receivers who are capable of doing stuff. Beasley is one of them. But he's not necessarily too consistent. So, I mean, it depends. If you drop him, why are you dropping him? Who do you want to pick up? That would be a better question, really, is who you would drop him for. Can he be something in the playoffs? Possibly. I mean, we're talking a flex option here and really kind of rolling the dice. And I don't necessarily like to roll dice on flex options. I'd rather go with someone that I think has either a good matchup or has a chance to make a difference. So I would say, could you drop Cole Beasley? It also depends on the size of your league, too.
Huh? Size of your league, who you picking up.
Yeah, right.
I mean, what are you just dropping them just to be dropping them? Of course, no. But it depends on who you want to replace him for. That's the main question. That's the $1 million information that we need as far as giving you our best fantasy tips and recommendations for that question. That Packers 611. All right, Packers 611 had another one. DJ Dallas and Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson again. DJ Dallas and Duke Johnson this week.
Well, I told you before how the Rams only allowed 1 rushing touchdown since week 2. And they're not allowing a lot of yards there. DJ Dallas looks like he's someone who is kind of taking the reins over for Seattle. And while Chris Carson returns to health, This is a tough one, but I still kind of lean to Duke Johnson. I think this might be his week. He's borderline a top 15 running back this week. Duke is.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's opportunity share when you're dealing with these guys, these less talented backs. That opportunity share rises above, in my opinion, becomes more a piece of the puzzle as it does the actual player. Duke Johnson, DJ Dallas, I'm looking more towards the matchup, and I'm looking more towards the opportunity share. Mm-hmm. Who's going to be on the field more? Who's going to get the red zone carries? Who's going to catch those most needed PPR touches, And, man, DJ Dallas, man, I don't know, man. I don't know, Jeff. What you think? I'm leaning DJ Dallas. I hope you leaning Duke.
Oh, I know you like Seattle versus the Rams, but this is where I'm against you there.
That's what I'm talking about. I like it.
I still lean Duke Johnson there, in my own opinion. Shoot. See, I'm looking at Seattle and who they've faced as far as running backs is concerned. Or not Seattle, the Rams. The best running backs that they've faced here, just looking back in the year, Myles Gaskin, week 8. David Montgomery, week 7. Raheem Mostert, week 6, might have been the best running back. They allowed 65 yards to Mostert. Week 5, Antonio Gibson. They held him to 27 yards. Week 4 was the Giants. So we're talking about Devontae Freeman. We're talking about Wayne Gallman. Gallman led the Giants that week in 45 yards rushing. Prior to that, Devin Singletary, 71 yards. Prior to that, Miles Sanders, 95 yards and a touchdown. And prior to that, the first week, Zeke Elliott. So since week 2, they really haven't faced a good, strong running back, with the exception of Raheem Mostert, and they were able to solve him. But they really haven't faced anyone. And DJ Dallas isn't really a guy that we're bending over backwards for. If it was Carson, yeah, he'd be up in that upper echelon. But outside of Sanders and Zeke Elliott, they really haven't faced a good, quality, strong running back. They just haven't. Maybe that's why they've been so good against the run. But I don't really throw DJ Dallas into that category, which is again why I'm afraid to use a Seahawks running back against the Rams.
Yeah, I'm putting it pretty much all coming down to red zone touches as far as that touchdown.
Yeah.
I can see Tyler Lockett being tackled at the 5 or the 2.
Yeah, or a defensive pass interference in the end zone, right?
Yeah, right. So, I say DJ Dallas, and it looks like Jeff is leaning more towards Duke. Let's see, one more, man. We'll wrap this up and go home. ISO only. What's up, ISO? Kenyon Drake, Brandon Cooks, and DJ Moore for Zeke. I guess we would have to know.
Oh,
can you see? I guess we would have to know. Is this dynasty? I guess we give you answers for both. Then we give you answers for if this dynasty, and we give you answer if this is redraft. You give the redraft answer, Jeff. I'll give the dynasty answer.
Oh,
which
wow!
Is no.
Redraft. No. I would not do that. I would rather have that.
No.
Yeah. Dynasty.
No.
Dynasty. I don't want Drake dynasty. I don't really feel like I want Cook's dynasty. The only one I really might want is DJ Moore, and his value is kind of low right now.
It is. But,
and again, Zeke is someone. What's he going to be next year? Is he still? How many more years do we have of Zeke? You got to look with dynasty. You got to look 2-3 years into the future. Is he going to be a top echelon back in 3 years? 2 years?
2 years.
You would hope so, right? So plus they get Prescott back next year if he stays. Man.
If I'm trading Zeke, I'm getting more for that in dynasty.
I know that's the thing is you want to get more. So yeah, I side with what's your opinion on the dynasty? You say you want to get more.
Yeah, you got to get more if that's dynasty. No, absolutely not. Nowhere in the world I'm doing that. Cook's another concussion. He's done. I'm talking about done. I'm talking about dropping. I'm not talking about, let's hold him for a minute. I'm talking about he's on the waiver wire. DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel is up now, and Robbie Anderson has already took his number one role. Kenyon Drake, I never liked Kenyon Drake. I'm not a Kenyon Drake fan anyway. You know, I don't like Kenyon Drake. I always liked Chase Edmonds a little bit better than him anyway. But as far as Kenyon Drake, he was going in the first round. I was like, my God, how can you even do that? But, you know, it is what it is. That's my opinion. But in redraft,
Yeah, redraft is tight, but I think
I might. It depends on what my team look like. I might do that in redraft.
Yeah,
it's a triple no in dynasty.
Yeah, it also depends on when Drake is back, how healthy he is, and does he still have the role that's going to give him that 65% carry share than what he had earlier in the year. So
the way I see it in redraft, the DJ Moore Cooks already might do it. You just give me Drake as a throw-in, the way I see that.
If this is a 10-team league, I kind of favor Zeke here. You know, because you want to have the better player.
If it's a 10-team league, I wouldn't do it because there's too much on the wire. You got too much on the wire there. Mm-hmm. I could pick up a Cooks replacement on the wire or a DJ Moore on the wire. 10-team leagues, man, that's full of talent on the wire. Mm-hmm. I definitely wouldn't do it in 10-team. The deeper the league is, the more scarce of your talent makes that a little bit more for me. But hopefully you answer that question. We'll do this one here, Jeff, and we'll wrap this one up.
Okay.
We'll do Z22. This is the last one. Lockett, Devontae Parker, PPR league. What you doing, Jeff?
Lockett or Parker?
Yeah.
I like Lockett here. Probably quite a. I don't want to say quite a bit. I mean, I see Parker getting like anywhere from 4 to 6 catches in this game with a possible touchdown against the Chargers. As far as Lockett's concerned, it just depends on, is Lockett or is DK Metcalf going to be covered by Jalen Ramsey? I'm thinking that might be Metcalf. So Lockett could have the better game. So I would lean Lockett here against the Rams. And, you know, just I think he's the better pick. I mean, Parker could get a score, but Lockett, we've seen him have better success, especially this year, and he's got Russell Wilson with him.
Yeah, this comes down to me, Zen. If you're more of a gambler, or if you're more of a conservative. If you're the conservative guy, you know, you kind of want to go Parker. You kind of take what he gives you. Could be a touchdown, could be 75 yards. If it was Ryan Fitzpatrick playing, I'll be a little bit more confident than him playing over Tua. But, you know, that's what we are now. We're in the Tua world. So all those receivers kind of took a hit once Tua stepped on the field. He has a little growing and, you know, get synergy with those guys. But if you are a conservative and Devontae Parker has a better floor than Lockett. Now, if you're like me, I'm swinging for the fences, and when I start, I'm looking for an upside. I'm looking for a guy who could actually win me a week single-handedly. That's Lockett. Lockett could come out and have 150 and 2 tubs against the Rams easily, because we know that's going to be. I expect that to be a shootout. What you see with that one, Jeff? I don't see that as a low-scoring game.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I see shootout. I don't see like a game in the upper 20s or 30s. I kind of see more of a 24-20 type of game, keeping it a little bit low, under 48 points or so. I think might be the high for me. I don't really see a big scoring game there. Looking back at Lockett's history in the past against the Rams last year, because he plays them twice. In Week 5, he had 4 catches, 51 yards, and a touchdown. And in Week 14, he had 4 catches for 43 yards, no touchdown. So, I mean, each game he had 4 catches, which is nice, right? That's typical for Lockett. And and he was able to score. But now with the emergence of DK Metcalf, I think maybe he draws Jalen Ramsey, and Lockett's the guy that they target. So I kind of lean Lockett here.
Yeah, I like Lockett. I like Lockett too. But yep, I like Lockett. All right, we got one more coming in, Jeff. This is the last one. Blue Crew. That's one of my early guys. So I got to take care of him. This is the last one, folks. All right, Blue Crew. I take care of you. Even with tough matchups, he says he's starting Godwin, Thielen, Kupp in PPR. Says he's benching Higgins, Hollywood, and Claypool. Can you see the question?
Yeah, I see it.
What's your thoughts, Jeff? This is the last one.
So he's starting Godwin, Thielen, and Kupp, and he's benching Higgins and Hollywood Brown plus Claypool. The only one that I would think about possibly is Thielen, taking him out of there and replacing him with Claypool.
Higgins. Claypool?
Yeah. Taking out Thielen and replacing him with Claypool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Chicago is let's take a look and see exactly what Chicago has done here against wide receivers.
So what's the must start out of this? Is what Kupp had a little injury, right? But Kupp's ready to go, right?
I like Kupp. Plus, I like his matchup against Seattle. So I mean, I like Kupp this week. Plus, remember I told you before I like Jared Goff, and the Seahawks were giving up 367 yards passing per game over the last 3. And we know that they give up about 47, 48 pass attempts per game for their opponent. That's a lot. This is going to favor Jared Goff. Even though I don't really think it's going to be too high scoring, I think that the yardage could be up there.
So Kupp is a lot.
I like Kupp, yes. I do like Kupp. The one that I'm kind of concerned about is Thielen. Let's see. Oh, wow. The Bears have allowed 3 touchdowns all year to wide receivers. 3. Wow. What does that tell you? That tells me that I would kind of tend to stay away from Thielen in that regard. I would say that Thielen would be your guy that you would bench, and I would probably play Claypool against Cincinnati.
I would flip and take Higgins against the Steelers. Higgins will be a play for me. That's the air raid offense. All they do is throw the ball. They're going to throw the ball. That's who they are. That's their DNA. This is the LSU, pretty much the LSU 4 verticals. I would start Higgins.
But do you agree about removing Thielen?
Man, I own Thielen, and I've been disappointed in one of my redraft leagues. I've been running him out.
Touchdowns. Thielen would be,
I've been running Thielen.
Would be not happy with.
I mean, what's Minnesota's identity? They run the ball. They don't want Cousins throwing the ball, for 304 tugs. They don't want that. That's the last thing they want. They want a 17-14 Cook, get us 3 touchdowns and 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Let's go home. Let's play some defense. That's what Zimmer wants. So I understand taking Thielen out, and I understand your Claypool. Claypool is a wild card. Claypool can do it. He's an excellent football player. If Deontay Johnson was out, I feel a little bit more comfortable with Claypool. I got to go with the offense that I know once they get off the bus, they're going to throw the ball to have success, and that's Joe Burrow. And I got to plug Higgins in there. If I were to take Thielen out, I'd plug Higgins in there. Jeff says he would plug Claypool in. That's fine. I have no problem with us not agreeing on everything. Actually, I love it. It shows that we both have our own minds. We're using our own stats. Using our own film studies.
I mean, Higgins isn't a bad option, but I mean, we're also talking about the Steelers' defense here.
Yeah, that's run. You can throw on.
Yeah, but it's only points.
Can't run on.
I would rather take the Steelers receiver than the Bengals receiver, I think, against Pittsburgh, just because I don't really see Cincinnati scoring, more than 17 points in this game.
Give me the garbage time Higgins over a decisive win Claypool.
We'll see. That's why they ask us,
That's
right?
why we do it. Godwin. I might take Godwin out and put Claypool in. What you think?
No, man. Carolina's defense.
He said no.
They're giving up so many first downs on third down. Teams are just passing all over them. Tyreek Hill had over 15 targets last week. Kelsey also close to that.
That's just Tyreek Hill. You got Tyreek Hill and Kelsey. That's pretty much the show. You got Godwin, you got AB, you got Evans, you got the backfield, running back, and then you got Gronk.
I know what you're saying.
That's a lot of miles. I'm just saying. I'm playing devil advocate for right here. I start Godwin. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just playing devil advocate for a minute. You know?
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you.
But Blue Crew, answer your question, and we're going home. Jeff says he would start Godwin, Cup, and Claypool. Typhoon says he would start Cup, Higgins, and Godwin. I almost took Claypool. I almost put Claypool over Godwin. I almost did it. That's a good lineup, though. Look, Blue Crew. You could have I've seen a lot worse. That's a good decision to have when you have to bite your fingernails to figure out who to start. Blue Crew. That's good roster management. That's good waiver wire pickups. It's also a good draft. So whatever you're doing, Blue Crew, keep it up. Keep it up. That team is strong at wide receiver. Maybe later on, let's talk about packaging up some of those and let's go get a little better. Let's package something together. Let's go get a Tyreek Hill or a Metcalf. Let's go get us somebody that's going to actually help us with
Michael Thomas fan.
Yeah, get a Michael Thomas or something. Get some. We got enough. What you think, Jeff? He's got enough ammunition there to kind of package something up and let's go make some moves. What you think?
Yeah, no, he absolutely could, especially after. Claypool is someone who you want to start in good matchups for sure, but he's not really too consistent.
No, he's not there yet.
He's not quite there yet, but I like him.
He will be next year. He will be next year, but he's not there yet this year. He's going to be the man next year.
Yep.
But, that's next year, 2021. We're talking about 2020 right now. I don't know, Jeff. I might take Godwin out, man, but we'll leave Godwin in for now. Blue Crew, good job, man. Good job. Thumbs up from Typhoon. And Jeff, you want to wrap it up, man? You got any last minute thoughts, parting thoughts?
Not really. No, thanks for having me on. It was fun. It's always fun to hang with you as well as answer people's questions and just talk fantasy. So let's bring on week 10.
I know we went over time. I know you said you had about 30 minutes, man. We had about an hour, man. I apologize for that, man. But thank you for taking time out of your day, man, to come talk fantasy football with little old Typhoon. Yeah, I really appreciate you, man. I do consider you, man, a real good friend. If you ever need anything, man, if I got it, it's no hesitation. It's yours, my man.
All right. Appreciate that. Likewise.
All right, folks. We're going to go ahead and sign off for today. Thank you for watching Game Time Thursday, Freestyle Fridays. Remember, this show is for you. This is you. We have an itinerary for the show just in case any questions don't really come in. But once the questions come in, boom. It's all you. And on that note, we go.